Alright guys, here we are. Back in the Bridgie clone with the moving jaw out of the Allzmetal Vise. I've already used the edge finder to find my X and Y for where my holes are going to be. What we're going to do is we're going to drill and tap and countersink this block for two 5/16 by 24 cap screws. Originally I was going to braze this piece, but with my oxypropane torch and the brazing tip that I have, I really couldn't get enough heat into this big chunk of iron in order to get a clean braze. Now I did several attempts. So we're going to take a fallback position and go back to old reliable. We're using a 9/32 drill here to give us about a 50% thread depth on this 5/16 by 24 bolt. The normal tap drill for this size fastener is the size I drill, the letter I, to give you the 75% thread depth. One of the reasons I feel comfortable going with the 50% thread depth is that we have nice long thread engagement into this part. So, also, we're done with the drilling. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drill the clearance holes in the block. We're going to use a size P drill, which is a close fit clearance hole for a 5/16 by 24. Alright, we're getting ready to power tap these two holes to 5/16 by 24. Oops, dropped my part. Of course, this is cast iron, so we're doing all of our work dry. Going to power tap this in slowest speed back gear, about 60 RPM. Alright, let's get set up to countersink these socketed cap screws. What I'm doing here is running in a 5/16 by 24 socketed cap screw without the counterbore in place. It's long, and we're just going to counterbore with a 1/2 inch end mill, which is about 70 thou oversized. Anyway, it makes a usable counterbore for this size. So we're set up here in the mill. Got a 4 flute 1/2 inch carbide end mill, and we're just going to pocket these babies right out. Getting a little chatter here that you can't hear. One of the advantages of narration. You gotta get my feed and my speed right. Alright, let's snug this second fastener down and our block here will be mounted. Question right now is, are two 5/16 by 24 bolts strong enough to withstand the cutting forces that the block of steel will see when it is being shaped up? Alright, we're going to mill the back face of the moving jaw completely flat all over, including our steel insert. So we got it in the big KT, and we're just going to sling some dust around for a while. Pick up that vibration that was caused once we got into the steel piece. So we've cut down one side. I think we're gonna have to make one more cut at a deeper depth in order to totally clean this up. By the way, if you're enjoying this cool retro funk, check out Kevin McLeod on YouTube for this and many more cool pieces of free-to-use music that bring you right back to Starsky and Hutch reruns and old episodes of Shaft. So, enjoy. Alright, we got the part flipped over. We're going to do the back side using the same cutter. I believe this is a 8 flute, 2-inch end mill, 1 1/4 shank. We're running at about, I don't know, 150 RPM. While we're cutting some metal, enjoy some more mixed funk by Kevin McLeod. See links in the description. Alright, we got the front face, the back face here machined flush, and I went ahead and machined the height of the insert here, even with the other one on this side. And then I went over here to kind of mock up on the vise and made a discovery. So let me bring the camera around and show you the discovery. Before anybody says it, I'm fully aware of the fact that I am polishing a turd here, okay? And when you see what I'm getting ready to show you, you'll understand just how much of a turd this thing actually is. So, let me bring the camera around. Alright, I've tried to set this up in a way where you can see this. The hole in the back of the moving jaw that accepts this end of the screw, and there's a set screw that engages this slot here. It is extremely off center in the vise, and then I did a little measuring and I found out the reason it's off center in the vise is because it's off center in the casting right here. It is over to this side of the vise by quite a bit. I would say at least 3/16 of an inch, if not more than that. So it's off center. Well, the problem with that is that means that the new piece we've added on here, once it's cut, to properly align this hole, the off-center hole, with the off-center screw, this side ends up being a lot thinner than this side, which is why this side broke in the first place. And interestingly enough, another gentleman sent me a picture of his vise, his similar vise, and guess what? Same exact spots broken. I mean, it's not a similar vise, it's an exact copy. It's an exact copy of this. It's another one of these vices, and it's broken in the same place, probably for the same reason. The off-center nature here caused this jaw to be cut, this edge to be cut very thin, and being that it was cast iron, it was easy to break. So what I'm end up doing here, I think, is I'm going to mark up, I'm going to get it lined up as best I can. I'm going to die this end and this other end here, and then I'm going to scribe on lined up with this edge, and we'll go ahead and cut back to that line, and then we'll try it. I'll leave a little bit of material in there. We'll try it. If we have to cut some more, we'll have to cut some more. But that is truly the degree to which that this vise is a steaming pile, and we are in fact polishing a turd. Alright, we got the part back in the big KT. We're touching off here with a 3/4 inch 4 flute carbide end mill. We're running about 320 RPM, and we're going to take 1/10 of an inch depth of cut, and right at about a 5/8 inch width of cut. Feed's going to be somewhere between 3.5 and 4 inches a minute. So we're throwing a nice healthy chip there. It is generating a little heat. I probably should have some form of coolant on there, but we're moving on through the work. Alright, we're getting up for our finish pass here, so we're taking about 20 thousandths in the vertical and about 20 thousandths in the radial. This is going to be our last pass. Alright, there we go. There's our new machined edge, I guess. I probably could have made like a little gib out of it if I'd wanted to, because how it functions, but we're not going to come anywhere near to polishing this turd that much. Alright, there we go. Lines up nicely with the screw, which is off center. So, you ever notice how making stuff bad is often harder than making stuff good? Alright, I couldn't find a 1024 screw long enough, but I did find the original fastener that they had hodgepodged in there. And I don't have enough 1/2x13 socketed cap screws, so I'm going to have to get me a shorter one or cut this one off. But for mock-up purposes, this is fine. So now what we got to do is attach the retention plate that came with it. Here are the two original fasteners that held it on. So I'm going to kick this thing up. Alright. All right, there we go. I guess that's a reasonable fit for a drill press vise. It's not like it needs to have a whole lot of holding its uplift when you mostly got drill thrust to worry about. So I couldn't stand looking at that little awful number 8 screw sticking through the moving jaw, that head sticking out. So what I did was I drilled through the retaining pin hole, one side of it, and I tapped it 12 by 24, I believe, number 12 by 24. Then I threaded the end of this piece of drill rod little piece of 01 1/4" drill rod. I drilled the other side out to 1/4", and then I'm running this piece of drill rod in here, threading it into the far side, and I'm going to mark it so that I know how much I have to cut off and what I have to work with in terms of length. Alright, here's our original fastener, which is just kind of crammed through the hole with the little nut that was on the other side, and it was super nasty. Here is my new pin that I have made to take the place of the original piece of junk, and I do think it is a rather nice upgrade for the old girl. I mean, if I'm going to use it, let's not make it too terrible to look at. So there you have it. The vise is in pretty much functional shape. It's certainly not a new Heinrich or a Kurt, but for all practical purposes it was free. So we have gilded the lily, so to speak, and but I believe this is something we can get some use out of. Alrighty. One last thing here for this video. Was not satisfied in how the jaws did not finish up as level as I'd wanted. Somebody had mentioned in one of my videos, why didn't you just put them in the vise and cut them after the vise was put together? So that's what I've done. Because they came out real close, but just not quite there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a pass down this and back and level these two jaws up. Then we're going to replace this cutter with a 1/2 inch, or no, a 3/8 inch cutter. And then we're going to freshen up this groove, make it level in the bottom here. So it's the same 3/4 inch carbide end mill we used to cut the base. Change out, this is an ER40 collet holder. Oh! No, that makes it easy. You gotta put the collet in first. Make sure you're The torque on an ER40 is something like 140 foot-pounds, so don't baby it. Just lined it up by eye. Got all of, we're going to leave the, we're going to speed it up a step. This is 500 RPM. Checking where I'm landing. That looks about right. So we got it out of the mill, the jaws are all leveled up, and I'm using a 100 grit stone here to deburr all the edges on the these vise jaws, which I don't want to come back and bite me. And with a nice smooth yet crisp edge. All in all, this has been an enjoyable project for the most part. If I had noticed that the screw was off center to such a huge extent before I started work on this, might not have happened at all, but you know, it is what it is, so we are gonna make the most of it. So that is that for the vise. I had talked about slab siding one side of this. Basically taking just milling, you know, cutting this ear off and slab siding a whole side of the vise so that the vise could be thrown up on its side to hold something vertically or in a different orientation. If that's something you want to see, let me know. Because let me tell you, I've got no sentimental attachment to this. So if you've ever wanted to see somebody put a vise in a bandsaw and you go to work, now's the time. we could slab side both sides of this thing and just make it a cube if we wanted to. So just let me know what you want to do. Other than that, outside of any requests or recommendations, this baby is a dunner. This is as done as it's going to get. I am not going to polish this turret anymore. So but look for this in upcoming videos on the drill press getting put to use. Be safe in the shop, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, stay off the road, those people are crazy, and I'll be back with you soon.